Welcome to the Skeptic Zone, the podcast from Australia for science and reason.
Yes, it's the Skeptic Zone podcast, episode number 927 for the 12th of July 2026. Richard Saunders coming to you from a soggy, cold, windy, soggy, rainy, sleet, snow, hail. No, not the snow or the hail. Sydney, Australia. Coming up on this week's show, we have part 2 of the Loons From Canada and their report about audio pareidolia. And this week, they're going to be looking at EVP, otherwise known as electronic voice phenomena. This is where people Hello? I don't know if you can hear that, but I think there's one outside the window. An early bird of some description. I don't know why they're not hiding in their nest. Anyway, EVP, yes, electronic voice phenomena. This is where people record things in spooky locations with their various apparatus, come back and they hear noises and bumps and sounds and wind gusts and whatever, and interpret those as voices from the dead. I don't think they really are voices from the dead. Audio pareidolia. It's very interesting. It's like misheard lyrics, or last week the Loons were mentioning the spirit box radio used by one K.L. O'Donnell and many other people who claim psychic or magical powers. And they play some really interesting examples. So you can play along, so to speak. You can hear these examples and determine if you're really hearing voices from the dead with messages. Following that, we're joined by the Secretary of Australian Skeptics, Lara Benham, who tells us about her adventure trying to see a physiotherapist and encountering, unfortunately, a dose of woo instead. Have you heard of cupping? And then to round off the show, we're going to be looking at some of the writings of the late Derryn Hinch. Now, international listeners may never have heard of Derryn Hinch. He was a very colourful character during especially the 80s and 90s and even into this century. A TV, radio and newspaper journalist, outspoken, strident, and he stuck to his guns. In fact, later on he was a senator in the Australian Parliament, and he actually did some time in jail because he broke the laws when it came to mentioning people before the courts, when it came to child abuse situations. Nobody could say he didn't stick to his guns. Anyway, we're going to be looking at the time, and this harks back to the Skeptic Zone about a month or so ago, when we were talking about Bob Steiner, Steve Turbo. Bob Steiner, of course, being from the Bay Area Skeptics, came out here in 1984 posing as a psychic medium and general psychic person, Steve Turbo. And Hinch, Derryn Hinch, wrote about him and appeared on television with him at the time. Anyway, we're going to read what Hinch wrote way back then, and I wish more journalists would write what he wrote. And you'll understand why when we listen to Trove later on. Now, a quick word about Noticon, the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. Rogues coming out to Australia and New Zealand. Actually, they're going to New Zealand later on. Here in Sydney, anyway. And you can still get tickets for Noticon. Just visit skepticzone.tv or noticon.com, something like that. Skeptic Zone TV is probably easier. A note about the scholarships that were on offer. The scholarships have now wound up. We had to do that because of timing reasons, to give people a chance to plan and do all sorts of things. And all the winners will be notified by mail. So if you entered for a scholarship, a student scholarship for Noticon, and these were very generously provided by the Traynor Foundation to promote the development of critical thinking skills in young people, then you can expect an email before long letting you know the details. Thank you to all those people who entered for the Noticon scholarships. And also the Bent Spoon nominations have come to an end for 2026. Thank you to the many people, my goodness me, the many people who nominated someone or a device or a company or whatever for this year's Bent Spoon Award. This will be announced at Notacon, and voting amongst the skeptical committees around Australia is now underway. You can review the entries at skeptics.com.au. A big shout out to all my teacher friends, as I love to shout out to teachers because they do such an important and underpaid and underrated job. Some of them I know are enjoying the last little bit of a break before getting back to it, but you are appreciated. And I think more people should appreciate teachers generally. It is not an easy job. But now it's time for me to run around the corner and down the steps and into the kitchen and look for a nice hot cup of coffee on a cold morning. While I do that, I hope you enjoy the Skeptic Zone. It's the Loons from Canada. Here's Kate and Ali.
Hey everybody, this is Kate.
And Ali.
The Loons from Canada.
And today we're going to do part 2 of our audio pareidolia segment.
Mondegreens and such.
Yes, Mondegreens. But today we're going to be looking at a video that I found on YouTube, and it's called Talking with the Dead, The Truth About EVPs. And it's a YouTube video from a channel called The Documentary Vault. That last time I looked, they had more than 350,000 subscribers, and it was very nicely produced. Good music, good audio, except for the audio pareidolia.
I'm sure they primed very well for that, though.
Yeah, and that's what I was looking for, because with these ghost shows where they go into spooky places, they always put the word up with what is supposedly being said by the spirits that are captured on an EVP.
So that the viewers can actually listen to that and try and hear for it.
So the priming really does make a difference. So I was thinking it's going to be better quality than what we heard from Cale O'Donnell in the last episode.
Now, are they also using a spirit box, or are they using like a ghost app?
They're using an EVP. And do you know what an EVP is?
Electronic voice phenomenon.
It is. Well, there's one that I see that I found on this site called Ghost Stop. It's called an Olympus EVP recorder, and it costs $137 Canadian. And essentially, it's just a really bad recorder. And what they do is they raise the floor, so you hear a lot of hiss. Mm-hmm. And you have to interpret the hiss to be able to determine what the ghosts are saying. And apparently that's how the ghosts are communicating. So just another communication tool.
Because you can't hear it to, just your human ear. Mm-mm. It's got to be captured on the recording device. And then you're going to get the magic revealed to you after.
That's correct.
When you have time to actually think about what it might say.
What I did with this video is the very first instance that they show where a spirit is talking, where they found evidence of a spirit, so-called evidence of a spirit talking.
Hardcore evidence, yeah.
I showed the first one just so everyone can get an idea of what they're looking for. I will have to say Ghost 1, Ghost 2, because I just have it on a slide that says Ghost 1. And then it's so brief. They flash it up, and I'm guessing, this is a total guess, that they're doing this so you don't really have time to think about it and you go, oh yeah, that's exactly what it said.
Whereas on ghost shows, they will put it up briefly, but then they're going to replay it 2, 3, 4, 5 times until you can really hear the word that you're reading.
And I'm only showing it twice. I play it twice without the word and then twice with the word. And I was expecting this to be better, especially with the high production quality of this video. We'll see how you do.
Lipstick on a pig is what I'm guessing.
It might be way better because they actually had time to take the sounds and go through them and find the absolute best ones.
And manipulate them.
Or they could have. Now, what's really interesting, I took the first 6 that I found in the video, partly because I didn't want to have to watch the whole video.
Despite its high quality?
Yeah. You are going to have to write down or think about what word or sentence or phrase that you might have heard the ghost trying to communicate to us. Is it clear?
Very.
Excellent. I'll announce ghost 1, ghost 2, ghost 3, and there's going to be 5 of them, just like we had 5 clips with Kale. Okay, here we go. I want to kill you, that said.
Since this is all about reading energy, I think what we need to do to really better understand this, outside of trustworthy, psychic mediums who can report back to us in real time what they see, clairvoyant, clairaudient, whatever it is. In order to really trust those devices, we need to have some control.
99% of the questions we asked, although they were hard to hear because the white noise is so loud that sometimes the responses can be hard to determine what's being said.
Doesn't that tell it all?
Yeah, that's really telling. But these are trustworthy devices.
But then they were able to find these wonderful samples. You ready?
Hit me up.
Ghost 1.
Oh, I think I heard you.
So now don't pay attention to the no, I think I heard you. That's a person. It's that fuzzy background noise you're looking to try and find a word in. So let's hear it again. Ghost 1.
Oh, I think I heard you.
Any ideas what that was? Do you remember?
I don't remember. And I can't see any of the answers either because I'm not looking at my screen. I'm not getting much of anything out of that one.
I think some people were having some fun because they heard boo. Maybe they did hear that, but that sounds very ghost-like.
5 error. That also sounds like we're having fun.
And fart.
I may have heard a ghost fart, but I didn't hear the word fart.
We're going to find that this is a bit of a common theme, and it was not on all the same people. It was on different ones at different points. 2 people thought it was hi, 2 people thought it was ow, and 7 people thought they heard the ghost sigh. I think that's kind of realistic.
As far as that could be realistic. Just as realistic as hearing a ghost fart, I suppose.
Yes. So the word that they say is being said by the ghost is talk.
Yeah, I did not get that at all.
No. Here it is again.
Oh, I think I heard you.
So far, we're not getting, in my opinion, better audio pareidolia.
No, and none of the answers from the 120 plus people even rhyme with talk.
Correct.
Nobody came close.
So actually, Kale was doing better so far with number 1 because there were 6 people who got number 1 correct.
But, Kale is listening to a broken radio that does have
actual words,
people speaking.
Yeah.
And so you are picking up on syllables.
Right. Yes.
Whereas this, you're listening for a weird noise in the quiet.
You ready for ghost 2?
Give me ghost 2.
Here it comes. Ghost number 2. Ghost 2 again. What do you think?
Ramble, ramble, ramble.
Well, some of the responses were, man, we gotta, you want, die. Crap. 2 people heard crap. And again, we've got our good old friend farts. Banging, 3 breaths, my favorite. Bay, woof, woof. Maybe spirit dog Jewel was coming through.
I think it was. So somebody heard an oof and an I'll hurt you.
That's kind of creepy.
All I heard was rumble, rumble, rumble.
I had a lot of descriptions of the sounds for this, not actually any words. So people were saying it sounds like rustling something, against a microphone, that kind of thing. That's what happens when you raise the floor of a microphone.
Right.
The real answer is you bet we are. Let's listen again and see if you hear it.
But I did hear ramble, ramble, ramble.
But not we bet we are.
Nope.
Let's move on to ghost number 3. And this one, I had very few responses. I only actually had 4 responses, 4 people who heard anything out of 120 people.
4 people out of 120, that's really bad.
I know. And will they get the right answer? Let's find out. Here is ghost number 3.
A walkie-talkie nearby.
Ghost number 3 again, and not the man talking.
A walkie-talkie nearby.
They just tend to throw those clips up so quickly that I wanted to have a little bridge in there with the fellow talking. But it's that sort of crunchy sound. Did you hear anything?
And I did not hear any words. It sounded like a microphone being rubbed up against denim.
Yeah. The 4 words that were given were crash, oof, scared, and hurts. And the actual words that they say were attack, bouncing. And this is the one that I actually can hear once I've been primed.
Well, let's play it again. See if I can hear it primed.
A walkie-talkie nearby.
I almost heard the bouncing on that.
Yeah.
A walkie-talkie nearby.
I hear the bouncing. I don't hear the attack.
There's no way I could get attack out of that. I could almost get bounce.
Mm-hmm. Bouncing.
Yeah, I didn't hear the ing. I heard like a bow. So like my brain could go to bounce.
My brain went to bouncing.
Because you'd been primed.
I've been primed.
But even primed, I wasn't getting the full bouncing.
So nobody got that one again?
I'm not surprised.
Well, let's go to the 4th clip.
Lounge, can you say something to us?
Ghost 4 again.
Lounge, can you say something to us?
This was kind of a fun one. There's only 3 responses here out of 120.
The 3 answers are shuffle, farts, because we love farts.
And that is PFFT. And somebody wrote literally nothing. So I think they were a little frustrated. And another comment by a participant is that it's very much like Yanni and Laurel all over again. And the same person said this particular clip sounded like Karen sneezing. And they clarified that Karen is the name of their family cat. I thought that was quite fun.
You know, because you and I have done this when we go out on location and we are the roving reporters for the Skeptic Zone. Every now and then you goof.
Yep.
And you think you've shut off the mic and you haven't. And you'll put the mic in the bag and whew, the noises that come out of that.
Yeah.
We could make our own EVPs. We could be rich.
You bet. The number of so-called ghosts that speak through our microphones that we leave turned on that we put in our bags.
Speaking to skeptics, no less.
I know. I did that at Saigon.
I did that at our last skeptic camp.
All right, you ready for ghost number 5?
I'm ready for ghost number 5.
All right, here it comes. Ghost number 5.
Can you tell me your name?
Ghost number 5 again.
Can you tell me your name?
I actually heard something, but Richard won't let you play what I heard.
What did you hear?
You have to listen now that I'm priming you to see if you can hear this too. Because I was not expecting to hear anything clearly. But I honestly, I swear to you, I heard, I will replace the expletive, but I heard, shut the fork up.
Okay, I'm going to try and hear it now, okay? Here we go.
Can you tell me your name?
Whoa, I'm having trouble. Let's hear it again.
Can you tell me your name?
No, I'm not hearing it. It's clear as day for you though, huh?
Tick to tick, tick, and then you get the shaky noises.
Yes.
But the tick to tick, tick, I hear shut the fork up.
So what is interesting is there actually is an expletive in this.
See?
And this one had more answers to this one. Not a lot more though. I mean, if you look at the chart that I made,
there's 7.
There were so many more with the spirit box than there were with the EVP, except for maybe number 1, the first one of both. There was more of the EVP for number 1. But with this one, somebody heard Anna, somebody heard shh. I get that. I mean, that could be for all of these.
Yeah, a static shh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody said finger on mic noise. So I think that one is more the noise description like I was talking about. So I just included one of those so you could hear what people were saying. Someone thought it was aardvark. I love that.
Yeah. Someone heard Stephen. Someone heard and then I cannot.
So the actual thing apparently, and we'll play it one more time for you, is what? You want my name? I don't know.
I like my answer better.
That was certainly a very interesting thought experiment. And I did poll everybody before the sheets were handed in. And the data does confirm that nobody got any of the EVPs. And what's really funny is partway through my presentation with the EVP section of my talk, Leslie Rosenblatt from the Centre for Inquiry Canada, who has a podcast. Kat, what's the name of the podcast again?
It's the Podcast for Inquiry.
Thank you. And he kind of blurted out, "You're kidding me, right?" Or some such words like, "You're pulling our legs. This can't be real. You're pranking us."
I'm being punked.
Yes. I get that sentiment because I try really hard to hear these words. I really do, because I think this kind of thing is really fun, but I can't hear them. And they're very serious about this.
It's interesting. The first time Richard got me to listen, I listened first just through my computer. Then I listened with headphones on.
Mm-hmm.
Really doesn't make a difference.
No, it doesn't. And that's what's so surprising. And you would think that being primed, you'd be more likely to hear it. And with these examples, at least, it's not happening.
No.
Unlike one of the things I finished my talk with were Mondegreens. And I discussed what a Mondegreen is at the end of the newsletter. So a Mondegreen is essentially just you mishear something and you think it's something else. And that's very common in musical lyrics.
Oh, yeah. There's some famous ones out there.
For sure. And I finished off with some fun ones that most people weren't aware of. And unfortunately, it had to be taken out of Seth Andrews.
Yeah, because YouTube is going to anything longer than about 10 seconds and you get hit for copyright infringement.
Yeah, you will get a copyright strike. There were 6 songs on the list, and each of them was probably longer than the limit that was required. So he made the decision to remove them from my talk, and the talk still works really, really well. And if you want to see some really, really good ones, go to @coxy.official. That's @COXY.official. He has so many very, very funny misheard lyrics, to the point that once you are primed, because he primes you with the words up on the screen, you can't remember the actual words, even after you hear the right ones.
And he acts them out, and
Yes.
he really has really great content. So
Yes.
do check him out if you need a good giggle, because, you know, the world can be dark and awful sometimes, and sometimes you just need to giggle.
And they're really good examples of audio pareidolia or Mondegreens. Well, anything else to add, Kat?
I think we've wrapped up like a deuce, another runner in the night.
A lot of people here wrapped up like a douche.
Yes, because it's one of the famous ones. So we've wrapped up like a deuce. To Loons from Canada.
It was fun as always.
Always a pleasure, always a delight.
So this is
Kate
and Allie signing off from
Alberta, Canada, somewhere. Different places. We're signing off from different places. Yeah.
2 different cities in Alberta.
2 soggy cities in Alberta.
G'day, Dr. Carl here, letting you know that I will be appearing at Noticon 2026 from July 23rd to the 25th at the Sydney Masonic Centre. What is a Noticon? Well, it's not a convention, but it sort of-ish, kinda. It's an interactive festival of ideas and games and audience participation by the Australian Skeptics and the whole crew from the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, which is the #1 skeptical podcast from the USA. The tickets are selling fast, with some types having already sold out. So jump onto noticon.com or skeptics.com.au to find out more and book your place while you still can. Bring your brain, bring your mates, and I'll see you there. Peace, love, mung beans. Byes.
Well, have you ever sought out the help of a physio? Maybe you have a bad back. I had a bad back recently. It was no fun at all. But luckily it got better over time. I have gone to a massage therapist in the past and it helped enormously. But if you've gone along to a physio, do you expect a dose of woo with your scientifically based treatment? Lara Benham, the Secretary of Australian Skeptics, did not expect a dose of woo. However, she has a tale to tell. And Lara, I hope your back is feeling a bit better.
Yes, thank you, Richard. It's feeling somewhat better, but this is a very slow healing process. Obviously, yours was contagious, because shortly after I saw you with your bad back, mine went too. And yeah, this is the worst back pain I think I've experienced in my entire life. Fun.
Well, it might be true, actually, because I hurt my back on the very last day of SciCon in Buffalo in New York. I was sitting down, just minding my own business, and when I went to stand up, my back seized up, and I think I have a memory of you helping me along the hallway, dragging a bag because I could hardly move.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I think that's the worst part of this, is that when I tell people, which I have to because they are wondering why I'm acting weird, their first question is obviously, what have you done? And my answer is absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I have done nothing. This is just part of aging. As far as I'm aware, I have done nothing to deserve this or to warrant this.
Yeah.
I have not been doing any strenuous activity, which is probably the problem. Probably just too unfit.
Maybe. But I swear I was just sitting on a chair. It was the day we sang the choir. And suddenly...
Yeah, it was the final day, the Sunday.
Yeah, my back seized up and I thought, uh-oh, I know the telltale signs. And within an hour I could barely walk. Never mind, I did get better. It took a few weeks, really, to get my back together again, shall we say. But in the meantime, with your bad back, you, unlike me, you went to seek help.
Yeah, I've put off seeking help for my bad back for years because it's only been fairly minor, which is probably a bad thing. But it flared up so bad a couple of weeks ago. I was in so much pain that I was Googling physiotherapists, and it was a Sunday night, so there was not going to be any chance of me calling. Like, I would have had to have gone to emergency care if I'd wanted anything then and there. But I was browsing physios in my area, and it's not something I've done before, so I didn't really know what to expect. And a lot of the ones that are near me, and I'm not going to mention any names of any businesses, but a lot of the ones near me, I was looking on the websites and they all seem to have something on them that set off red flags in my head. So something that, traditional or complementary alternative medicine, some kind of woo, as you said at the start, or they are associated with a chiropractor, which is a huge grey area red flag. So I wasn't really sure what to do. And as I often do nowadays, not that I believe everything it says at all, I had a conversation with Copilot about it.
Okay.
And Copilot suggested that I go through the APA website, which is the Australian Physiotherapy Association, because they have lists of people who are registered with them. And this sounded like good advice. So that's what I did. And I've got that in front of me now. But somewhere on this website, you can search for physios near you. So again, all good so far. So you go to the Find a Physio, and I can type in my postcode. So it selects my area, and I can type in a distance. And then you can refine your search. You could type in a name of the practice if you knew what you were looking for. Or there's a drop-down menu for select special interest areas. So if you're looking for something in particular from your physio, that's where you can go to. And in this list, right at the top, is acupuncture and dry needling. Now, dry needling, I think we need to come back to at some point, because dry needling, as far as I've been told by actual medical professionals, does have evidence behind it. Okay. But acupuncture, as we know, does not.
That's right.
And just seeing that on the list made me quite concerned, because that was the exact thing that I had come to this website to try to avoid. So if the Australian Physiotherapy Association are promoting acupuncture, that didn't help me either. So I did another thing that I often do, which is phone my friend Adrienne, who is a reporter.
And the former president of Australian Skeptics, yes.
Oh, yes, of course. But I meant in terms of Skeptic Zone.
Yes. He did a segment called Grain of Salt a few years back, yes.
Yes. So I phoned my friend Adrienne and asked him, because he obviously has the same desire for science in healthcare as I do. And I thought maybe he's seen a physio recently. And he suggested a physio that his doctor had put him in touch with. And this is the physio that I ended up going to. And again, I'm not going to be naming any names or suburbs or anything. But I made an appointment for the following day to go and see this particular physio. Now, it wasn't the exact person that Iran had recommended, but it was the same practice, the same clinic. But yeah, I chose the guy that was the back specialist and went there the following day, which was hard enough as it was because I had to somehow get into the car and walk there, still in excruciating pain. And about 15 minutes into the appointment, I got, "Have you tried cupping?" Which, and honestly, my heart just sank.
Now, for those listeners who don't know what cupping is, what is cupping?
So cupping has been around for a really long time. As far as I'm aware, it's a particular therapy that's associated with Chinese medicine. And like, I'm just reading what it's saying here online. It says, cupping is an ancient alternative therapy where suction cups are placed on the skin to create negative pressure. The suction pulls the skin and superficial tissue upward, which is believed to improve local blood circulation, release muscular tension, and promote cellular healing and lymphatic drainage. And I think the key word there is believed to.
Yes, I was about to say, this is ridiculous. This is weasel words. This is ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, it does do that. It certainly does draw the blood to the surface because people that have had this, and listeners have probably seen this because there's been Olympic athletes, which is, I think, where it's got some exposure. You're covered in bruises afterwards. They are basically just bruises. So it certainly does do that. It certainly does draw the blood up to the surface. But the claim that then promotes any kind of positivity, any kind of healing within the body, as far as I'm aware, is not backed by any study at all. It's one of these ones where there is harm being done because it certainly is not good to create that much, to create all those bruises all over the surface of the skin.
I can't see any point to putting bruises on your body.
No, but in terms of some, like if you're taking homeopathy, for example, I realise that the question of what's the harm is a big one for us, and I realise that there is harm in the background in terms of homeopathy, but the actual homeopathic products themselves are not harmful because there's nothing in them. Whereas this is one where I do think there is an element of harm because I don't think that creating all those bruises all over your body is a good idea at all. So that was disappointing. I can't remember exactly what I said to him, but we had already had a conversation about skepticism and what that was just in our small talk at the start.
Right.
And so it didn't take me much more to just, let him know that I was aware that cupping has no scientific backing behind it at all. And he muttered something about placebo effect, and I don't think I think that made the point. I don't think he's going to offer me any more alternatives. He poked and prodded and gave me some exercises to do. And, I really just wanted peace of mind, to be perfectly honest, that there was nothing major wrong and that I'm not going to have to go and have any scans. And that's what I got from the appointment.
Well, I suppose that in his experience, when people come to him for a bad back or whatever, and he says, "Have you tried cupping?" They either say, "Yes, I tried it," or "No, what is it? I'll try it," or "I've heard about it, I might try it." So he probably normally gets a more positive response.
Oh, yeah. Most people wouldn't have the reaction that I had, I assume. And I certainly wasn't rude about it, but I wanted him to know that I just need something to actually make my back better, and I'm not in the mood to be dealing with alternative medicine.
Yeah. So from your point of view, it's just disappointing that you go to a professional organization for a physio, and yet you're given the options, or you're told about all these other things that we know are sadly lacking in evidence.
And it brings up the question of because you just suggested, what the normal reaction is when he asks that.
Yeah.
But I would like to know, does he genuinely think it works? Was he, with his comment about, it's probably just placebo afterwards, was he just being a good physiotherapist and saying what the client wants to hear?
Yeah.
Or does he genuinely think that it does have some benefit? Or is he being, they may well have some kind of alternative practitioner who they are linked with. And so if he makes a referral, I don't know. He may well get some kind of bonus for that. I don't know. So it matters to me as to why he suggested it. You know, does he believe it, or was he just offering things that he thinks might make me feel better because he knew there was nothing he could really do for my back?
Yeah.
On a positive side, I have just been to my actual GP this morning for an unrelated issue. And when that bit was over in the appointment, I mentioned this to her and I asked her about it. And she was really surprised, actually. Yeah. She was really shocked. And she has given me the name of a few physiotherapists in the area who she would strongly recommend. We even went onto the websites to have a look at them together to see if there was any woo being promoted. And she's the one that told me, no, dry needling is scientifically backed.
I must admit, I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, maybe we should have a look at some point. I think I'd quite like to know a bit more about that. My GP is actually Chinese, which she pointed out. And she said her mum had been trying to get her to do cupping since she was little. And she's always said no because she's a doctor and she's science-based. So that was an interesting conversation as well.
So apart from acupuncture and cupping, what other modalities were listed?
On various things like chiropractic. I think that was the main one. And chiropractic's a little bit trickier because it's based in woo, but there are some things that chiropractors do that could help with certain conditions.
Yes. I went many years ago. I had a whiplash injury, and I did go to a chiropractor. I was only a boy at the time. I was barely 12 or 13 or something like that. And I seem to remember it helped, but in retrospect, it was probably because he was massaging my back and my neck, just to relieve the tension.
But it has been shown in certain cases to do certain things. It's just the problem is there's too much stuff that a lot of chiropractors claim that we know is not based in science.
Not based in science, like subluxations and curing deafness and things like that.
Yeah. And some of it is genuinely dangerous. Yeah. There have been quite a lot of cases of incidents after somebody being at the chiropractor because of some kind of adjustment they've done on the neck or spine that is genuinely dangerous.
Well, I wonder if the APA should be nominated for the Ben Spoon next year.
Possibly.
Maybe that's a good one because nominations have shut for this year, but maybe for next year it might be a worthy nomination. But before you go, very soon now, the countdown's on to Noticon.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We are very excited about this.
So excited. So 23rd to the 25th of July in Sydney at the Sydney Masonic Centre, mostly. The details are all on noticoncon.com.
Noticoncon.com, that's right.
Noticoncon.com.
Or skepticzone.tv, yes.
Or go through some links.
And I know a lot of some sessions are sold out, of course, but there are still tickets for the general sessions.
Yeah, so so some things are sold out. There's still tickets for the actual main con. I don't know what to call it if it's not a con, but you know what I mean. There's still main tickets on sale, which is for the Friday and the Saturday. And there are still tickets, as we record this, there's still tickets for the SGU podcast recording sessions on Friday and Saturday.
So there you are, folks. If you haven't got your ticket yet, you still have an opportunity. You still have a chance. Can't wait to see the gang from The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, plus special guests like our friend Gio.
Yes. Yep. And we just saw them in Buffalo, New York for SciCon. And now we're dragging them over here for some fun in Sydney.
Well, Lara Benham, thank you very much for that report. Yes, it is concerning that when you go to get some proper attention for a very important issue, I know how bad back issues can be. You want evidence-based medicine, not, let's say it, not woo-woo.
Exactly.
Lara Benham, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It can't just be me, but something serious is happening to my body. On the Moans is a new podcast from me, Kate Thomas, a pharmacist of 25 years and a newly minted perimenopausal oversharer. I pull back the curtains on perimenopause, hormones, rage-quitting jobs, disappearing libido, bone health, and the quiet suffering so many women carry alone. From estrogen quitting her full-time job with no notice and taking all of the neurotransmitters with her, to a friend breaking down in the kitchen whispering, "I thought it was just me." On the Moans is honest, evidence-based, funny, messy, and deeply human. And it's not just for women. Loads of men are wondering why their partner has gone from being reasonably well put together to now crying because she can't remember why she entered a room. We are not broken. It's not our fault. And we're definitely not alone in this. Join me for On the Moans, available now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or via the link on the Skeptic Zone homepage.
Now it's time once again to go back to the archives, normally at Trove, at trove.nla.gov.au. But today, because of the recent death of Derryn Hinch, as mentioned at the top of the show, we're going back through other archives and some of my personal clippings dating back to 1984. And this has to do with something we covered on the Skeptic Zone not too long ago, the Steve Turbo/Bob Steiner hoax. You will recall that in 1984, Bob Steiner from the Bay Area Skeptics travelled to Australia and, under the guise of psychic medium, general psychic person Steve Turbo, fooled thousands of people, including some in the media. But Derryn Hinch was sceptical. Now, briefly, Derryn Hinch was born in New Zealand in the 1940s, but moved to Australia and became a journalist, even covering the moon landings in 1969 when he was based in the USA as part of his career. But most Australians will remember Derryn Hinch, from his evening television news magazine program called Hinch, which ran in the 1980s. And also his talkback radio programs in Sydney and Melbourne, and as a stint doing the midday program on Channel 9 TV in the late 80s, I think that would have been. And that was a daytime talk show. He was one of those characters who was certainly larger than life, and he knew how to use the media. Anyway, let's hark back to the days of 1984 when Bob Steiner came to Australia, and Derryn Hinch had a regular column in the Sun Herald, and I read his column from the 13th of May, 1984. The Best of Hinch, with Derryn Hinch. I am indebted to that humanist, skeptic, agnostic, artist, creator, collector, film producer and raconteur, Philip Adams, for alerting me to the Australian visit of yet another famed international psychic and spoonbender. A Doris Stokes with a suntan, a Californian Uri Geller. Hide your good cutlery, Steve Turbo is coming. Actually, Mr. Turbo is here already, with all his much valued psychic powers and brooding talents of ESP. These days, all mediums need the medium of television. There's a big flock out there. To be fair, I should declare some sort of vested interest in mocking the turbos of this world. I am not a member of the Australian Skeptics Association, nor am I a member of the Philip Adams, James Randi, Dick Smith group of debunkers and psychic demolishers. It is true that once a year the Australian Skeptics ask me to be the judge of their annual Bent Spoon Awards, or the Uris, named after that paranormal sculptor of keys, Uri Geller. Before he arrived in Australia, Mr. Turbo sent word to the faithful that he thought this was a mine of psychic information, something to do with the fact that we are so isolated, and the Aborigines had their dream time, because Joe Bjelke-Petersen is, quote, the most spiritual of Australia's political leaders, end quote. Joe Bjelke-Petersen was a very colourful political leader of the time. I hope he meets up with Joe. He can bring greetings from cancer quack Milan Breich, now in jail in Turbo's home state, California. He can also find out what happened to the water-powered Horveth car which Joe endorsed and which he envisaged fueling Queensland trains. And I vaguely remember this. It's probably written up in the Skeptic magazine, I'm sure it is. Yet another claim over the decades of people who say they can run cars on water. According to Mr. Call Me Steve Turbo, he has spent 3 years doing extensive laboratory tests under the supervision of Jean Curtain, PhD, whoever Jean Curtain is, when he or she is at home. And now consistently scores well above random expectation on everything from thought reading to metal bending. He even has a cockamamie idea that if we all use the right thought processes and sit around concentrating hard on peace, it'll get to Reagan and Chernenko, and they will replace their nuclear missiles with laurel wreaths. Oh yeah? On a more personal basis, Turbo's laboratory master or mistress came up with the amazing claim that the human guinea pig seemed to score even better in controlled psychic tests after sex. Not with the controller. Steve apparently got married during the tests. Imagine that. A psychic stud. Maybe there is a more simple explanation. Maybe now he's home at nights, he's getting more rest or better care. If you think I'm being too hard on this man, and by judging by the amount of money some psychics and future predictors make from the gullible, a lot of you will think that. All I can say is this. I am sick and tired and angry at the way, year after year, these radio and television psychic gurus come here from overseas to court the gullible, the credulous, the desperate. Even worse, some of them prey on the old, the sick, the infirmed, who can, it seems, be parted from their bank books by mumbo-jumbo and fear. And I'll just pause here to say that this was written in 1984, 42 years ago, and nothing has changed. They still come here year after year, and radio and television still give them free publicity. Anyway, and sometimes by smart magicians dressed up as mental masters. I said they come from overseas. It's hard enough keeping track of the fortune-telling frauds making fortunes from their machinations here at home. Quite frankly, it makes me psych. Mr. Turbo was challenged on TV last week by Philip Adams to demonstrate any psychic ability under reasonable test conditions. Adams repeated his long-standing offer of $10,000 to any person who was demonstrably psychic. And adjusting for inflation and the way currency works, that's worth in the order of about $40,000 in today's money. Fellow skeptic Dick Smith of flying and electronics fame has also offered Turbo $100,000 if he successfully goes through similar scientifically controlled tests and is not exposed as a fake. On the Newton Show on Thursday night, Mr. Turbo challenged me to put my money where my mouth was. I was on the spot. I too pledged and reiterate on this page that $10,000 of my money also says the psychic is a fraud. If you did see the show, then you would already know that it is an understatement to say I was skeptical of Mr. Turbo and his alleged powers, and I say so to his face. Of course, any decent psychic would have known from just looking at me or picking up my vibes, negative ions and deconstructive aura, that I would turn out like that. I'm confident that although $120,000 is now at stake, not a cent of it will go back to the United States in Mr. Turbo's pocket. And wouldn't it be nice to see more opinion pieces like that in the newspapers these days with all the parade of American and other psychics and mediums, so-called mediums, who come to this country. Anyway, that was on the 13th of May, 1984. And now we have a brief report here from the Age newspaper from the 18th of May, 1984. Psychic a fake, but hoax was real. And this is, of course, after Bob Steiner just revealed himself as a fake, as a skeptic on live TV. And this is by Philippa Hawker. Bert Newton introduced his television show last night as round 3 in a psychic test. The visiting American psychic, Mr. Steve Turbo, was to appear on the show, prove his psychic abilities and claim a $100,000 prize offered by Mr. Dick Smith, as well as $10,000 each offered by Mr. Philip Adams and Mr. Derryn Hinch. But Mr. Turbo revealed himself to be a skeptic rather than a psychic. The said Mr. Turbo was in fact Mr. Bob Steiner, a professional magician and psychic debunker. "I'm not a fraud, I'm a fake," he said. The previous psychic demonstrations on the show had been illusions. Steve Turbo was part of what the president of Australian Skeptics, Mr. Mark Plummer, proudly called one of the biggest hoaxes carried out in the Australian media. Everyone was in on the trick. His organisation brought Mr. Steiner to Australia. Publicity on 3 Tonight with Bert Newton shows, the Derryn Hinch radio program, and in Mr. Adams' newspaper columns helped to get the Steve Turbo myth talked about. The only paranormal aspect of the whole business was the fact that nothing about the hoax was leaked. "Between 50 and 60 people have kept this secret for 3 weeks, said Mr. Mark Plummer. And finally, the follow-up piece by Derryn Hinch himself in his column, The Best of Hinch, and this was from the Sun Herald, dated the 20th of May 1984. And so, Steve Turbo, the psychic, is a fake. Real name, Bob Steiner, a professional magician from San Francisco, brought out to Australia by the Australian Skeptics, to pose, lie and posture as a genuine example of the paranormal. His motive? He hoped, or hopes, to prove what charlatans abound, what crooks and fakes there are, and how easily it is for them to take down the gullible and to take their money and run. Turbo/Steiner confessed to this exercise in deception on the Bert Newton show on Thursday night. Confessed that all his psychic experiences and predictions, mind reading and card tricks were simply that, tricks. What happened, the timeline and why, has caused some controversy, and readers and TV viewers deserve an explanation. What did I know, and when did I know it? I had never heard of Steve Turbo until 2 weeks ago, when I read Philip Adams' column about him and received a press release purportedly from Jean Curtain, PhD, who had supposedly spent 3 years testing Mr. Turbo in his laboratory. The following Monday, I attacked him on Radio 3AW in Melbourne. To my mind, we were about to be visited by yet another fake, another psychic mumbo-jumbo expert, another TV guru who would do miracles, read minds, and take your money. Later that week, I was contacted by the Australian Skeptics president, Mark Plummer, sworn to secrecy, and told that Turbo was in fact a mole, an American skeptic who would show what quacks and cheats and psychics were. From the beginning of all of this, I have told you he was a fake. On radio, on television, in last week's Sun Herald, I said don't be fooled by his glibness or his actions. He is a magician, nothing more, nothing less. Despite what I said about Turbo, Geller, Stokes, 100 people at one of Turbo's public meetings in Melbourne asked for private readings at $25 a time. He could have, but didn't, collect a quick $2,000. Obviously, I knew that Turbo was not who he appeared to be when he appeared on the Bert Newton show on the Thursday night. I knew that when I bet $10,000 he was a phony. But that offer still stands. The money is still there as a target for any psychic claimant. So is the $100,000 wagered by Dick Smith and the $10,000 by Philip Adams. Some people, many people, have said both in print and on radio since the expose that they have been exploited. They have been conned. Hinch has lost his credibility. Why? Everything I said about Turbo I have said about other psychic charlatans. For years they come out here, appeared on radio and television unchallenged, filled town halls, charged you to get in, conducted private readings. They lie to you. exploit you, take your money and raise your hopes. They play with your emotions for the simple motive of personal greed. For too long, their predictions and their chicanery have gone unchallenged. For too long, the media has been a sycophantic lover on the issue. I know there are still believers convinced that Uri Geller has magic fingers and can twist keys and bend forks. They will attack me and the people involved in this experiment, and they will say, this one was a fake, but there are real ones. If by being involved in this Steve Turbo affair, I have stopped one sick person from getting on the plane today for the Philippines, then it has been worthwhile. If I have stopped one pensioner from parting with $25 of his or her pension check for a card reading or a personalised horoscope into what the future holds for them, then I have succeeded. And if, in 6 months or a year, the next internationally acclaimed psychic comes out here and appears on television with a panoply of powers, I hope even the believers remember Steve, what's his name, and think maybe it's a con. Maybe then even some of our more trenchant critics will concede the ends last week justified the means. Well said, Derryn Hinch, way back there, all those decades ago in 1984, and what a pity more of the media don't take this attitude today. Because in the decades and decades since this was written, we've had a long parade of so-called psychics and mediums visit our shores. And what do they expect when they get here? Free publicity from radio, television and newspapers. In fact, I noticed Alison Devois was in the country just recently. Although I must say, I don't think she got too much publicity. She did appear on certain media, but she's a bit of a has-been. This is a bit of an old act by now. She was popular some decades ago. The term that crossed my mind was laughing all the way to the bank. Anyway, Derryn Hinch, the late and great Derryn Hinch, who died only a couple of days ago. What a character, and what a strong stand he took way back then against psychics and mediums. But you too can find out about psychics and mediums from all decades when you go to Trove at trove.nla.gov.au, put in your search, or go to another online resource of newspapers, because when you do that, well, you never know what you might find. Thank you for listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast, and thank you to all those people who support the show at Patreon or PayPal or buy me a coffee. You can do that at skepticzone.tv. And your support, even if it's $5 a month or something like that, means the show can keep going. Now in just over a week, so soon now, the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe and Entourage will be arriving in Sydney, Australia to prepare for NotaCon. Again, you still have time to get your tickets. Just go to skepticzone.tv and find the link. It's going to be so much fun, and we'll be announcing the Bent Spoon Award. All sorts of people to meet, including Dr. Karl Kuzelnicki. And one last message before I go to Susan Gerbeck. Yes, Susan, I am considering buying another microphone at the moment. Oh, I could hear the sigh from across the ocean. Can never have too many microphones. But for this week, this is... Where are those Skeptic Zone cats, by the way? I think they're huddled by the heater. But for this week, this is Richard Saunders signing off from Sydney, Australia.
You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast. Please visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for episodes and show notes with links going back to 2008. You can follow the Skeptic Zone on Facebook, X, TikTok and YouTube by clicking the links at our homepage, together with links to support the show financially via Patreon or PayPal. The Skeptic Zone is an independent production. The views and opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of the Skeptic Zone podcast or any other skeptical organisation.
Two soggy cities in Alberta.
Yes, two soggy cities is right. Two soggy cities. Oh, that's a tongue twister.
Two soggy cities.
Yeah.
And again, that's not the noise loons make. Not a loon.
Okay.
I'm so glad you can cut all this out and post.
I know. It's so fun. I laugh so hard. It takes me forever, but at least I'm smiling.
Sometimes I leave them in for Richard, and I'm just, I know he's going to cut this, but he's going to laugh at us.
Oh, he will. I've done that too. I've left stuff in.
Hello to everybody. I've dropped it. I've dropped it on the floor.
Oh, we're doing a dice game?
It's rolled right. I can't. It's and those people who listen after the music. Lara Benham's come back on the line. Hello, Lara.
Hello again.
Hello. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's play the dice game. I've got a D20.
6.
Wait a minute. I haven't even drawn out the things yet. I've got a D20. This is where you at home can test your predicting power. What will the dice say? We've got 4 rolls. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to predict a 5, and you're going to predict a 6 for the first roll.
Yes.
Okay, what about roll number 2?
I'll do that when we get to it.
Ooh, all right. Here it comes. Roll number 1. D20. 18.
Oh, I'm just going to have to trust you.
All right.
Can't see it.
Well, I can show you on... It's all right.
Well, you can hold up anything you like.
I can, yes. 18. Roll number 2. What do you get?
4.
4. I'm going to go with 19. Here we go. 14.
Oh, close.
Close.
I got the 4 part.
Yeah, close. Roll number 3.
10.
10. I'm going to say 20. Okay, here it comes. 8. It's not out, eh?
So close.
Roll number 4.
19.
19. I'm going to go 5.
For Susan.
For Susan, yep. Here we go. 16.
Oh, rubbish. We didn't get a single number.
No, we should do a supplementary. Roll number 5.
It's going to make it 23.
20. There's only a D20.
Okay, 2.
2. All right. And
I think, honestly, guessing 23 is as good as anything else. It's not going to happen.
Well, I'll say 3. So 2 and 3. Here we go.
It's going to be both of them at the same time.
17.
Oh, for God's sake.
Okay, roll number 6. We got it.
I'm just going to keep going until we get one. I haven't got time for this. Okay, 14.
14, last roll. And I'll say 6. 6 for roll 6. Here we go. 11.
Oh my God. I'll have to pick this up next time. One more.
Okay, one more.
4.
Last
4.
one.
It's definitely a 4.
And I'm going to go 14. Okay, here we go. Here it comes. 6.
Unbelievable.
Today's winning numbers. 18, 14, 8, 16, 17, 11, and 6.
I would like to congratulate any listeners if they've listened all the way through that whole dice game to the end. Well done.
Thank you. That's it.
Cool.